Hey, it's been a hot minute. Brought some tea again for the video as per usual. Although I tried to make cold tea. This is like a pomegranate flavor. Tastes just like water, so we're gonna set that aside for now. I definitely have to work on the next batch. In fact, comment down below if you have any advice for making some cold tea. I'd appreciate it. Anyways, these past few weeks, I've been working on a wedding video. I had the privilege of shooting one of my best friend's weddings. It was awesome, had a lot of fun. But I learned a lot through that because at the end of the day, I had 3 shooters, which was awesome. Saved some stress for me for the actual day. But we actually came out with 15 hours of footage. So this project was huge. There was a lot going on, a lot happening, and honestly, quite the stressful endeavor because I didn't know where to start or even how to start. How do you take 15 hours and push that into like a 5 to 7 minute highlight video? How do you work through all the clips and all those things? Thankfully, I can say now we are done the video. Awesome. It looks amazing. And so I have 4 tips for you to help you work on some of those major projects, whether it's, some larger corporate work or a mini documentary, or maybe you're shooting a wedding yourself and you come home and you have all this footage. I got 4 tips for you on how to get started so you can make something really cool to show off to lots of people. Let's get to it. Tip number 1, and this one might be really simple and many of you might have already been doing it, but for those who don't, organize your footage, please. When I had 3 different shooters for that day, I need to know when I'm working in the edit where and what the footage is. So get all the footage off your SD cards, off your hard drives, whatever it is, get that onto your computer and organize it. So for me, I have a video on my video file structure. I'd put that in the top corner. I'd highly recommend going to check it out, steal it, use it, super useful. Where in my footage folder, I had all 3 of us shooters. So there was me and 2 others, 3 folders full of footage that equaled to close to 15 hours. I'm working in DaVinci Resolve right now. Highly recommend it. It's free to try it anyways. But whether you're working in Premiere Pro, Final Cut, or DaVinci, get all your footage in there. And so for me, for this specific project for the wedding, I had folders such as getting ready, the ceremony, the reception, and the dance. So I took all 3 of our footage and combed through all of it and put it in those specific folders. So that way I know when I'm working in the edit, if I'm working on the scene that is getting ready, I only have to look through one folder to find all the footage of the bride and groom getting ready to make something beautiful, to make something that works. And I don't have to spend hours trudging through 2 other people's sets of footage to find that kind of information. So organize your footage, whether you're working on a mini documentary or some corporate work, or maybe you're doing another wedding yourself. Take some time, organize your footage. Plus, honestly, it's kind of a mind-numbing thing. It's not like you have to work really creatively hard to do it. So for those of you who are kind of like, I don't know how to start, this is a perfect starting point. Organize that footage. It'll save you hours in the actual edit. And that leads us to the second point, and doesn't take too much mind power, is to actually work through all of your B-roll. What do I mean by that? Now, how I work, and I only recently picked this up after watching many hours of YouTube tutorials, is I create my own timeline. I create a separate one than what I'm currently working on as my main edit, I should say, where I comb through all the B-roll. I go in and out and place, in and out and place. And what I like about this is it familiarizes you with your footage, which I think is crucial, especially if you have other people shooting on a project with you. You're not always gonna know what they shoot, even if you've kind of shown them what you want. This gives you time to work through all the footage and find the stuff you think is best. And the coolest thing about it is you just get to look for the best looking stuff, right? Work through all your footage, in and out, place on the timeline, and eventually you'll have a timeline full of great looking B-roll that you can use for your edit. And that's something I do with all of my projects now, because so much of it is like you have a talking head and you have B-roll, and you got to find out what that B-roll is. So you've done the first 2 steps so far, and you're like, Josh, I am ready to make this edit, but there's still a ton of B-roll. Your timeline is full of it. You have hours of that. You're like, how do I even begin? I watch a lot of Mark Bone on YouTube. If you don't, he's an amazing documentarian. He has the art of documentary. This is not a plug for him specifically, but I've learned a lot from him. And one of his best editors who works on lots of documentaries for him actually does something that I think is rather unique and different than probably many of us would try to do to begin with. So instead of pushing through the project, pushing through the timeline, trying to just make something, he actually pulls himself off of the keyboard. They make a massive wall of sticky notes and plan out scenes. That way I took, for the wedding, a piece of paper and I wrote scene by scene, how I kind of wanted them to connect, the flow I wanted, the pace I was looking for. and I was actually able to make a blueprint essentially for the project I'm going to have to edit. And what I find that's really unique about this is it pulls you out of just the full amount of footage you have to work through. And instead, you now get to go pick precisely the footage you want to apply to the plan you've already made. And what I liked about even the sticky note idea is it's a fluid one, right? You can move sticky notes there and back. You're like, oh, I like the reception here. You know what? I want this specific scene somewhere else. Those kind of things. It's a great way for you to take a break because it is a daunting task and gives you time to plan out what it's going to be. And what I even do during this step that I'd also recommend, look for inspiration. When I was editing this wedding video, I watched way more wedding YouTube than I probably ever have because I just want to see what other people do, see what other the trends are right now when it comes to wedding videos. I'm not saying by any means take and steal from them, but inspiration is a great thing for you. And lastly, when it comes to taking a break from working on the actual project, and something we are all going to have to do anyways, get inspired by music. You know, whether you use Artlist or Epidemic or MusicBed or whatever music software you go on, find music that like fuels you, that pushes you forward, that gives you creative ideas as you listen to it. Because I find for me, that is a massive plus when I can like almost feel the edit through the song, kind of what clips I'm gonna place, whether your money shot's gonna go here or here. So take the time, get off of your project, write on paper, write on sticky notes, watch some inspirational videos on whatever project you're kind of working on, the style of it, and find some music that inspires you as well, because all three of those things will help you make a significantly better edit. So let's get to the last point, which I know all of you are like, oh, what, Josh, what could it be? Get started. That's it. You got to put pen to paper, so to speak. You got to put footage and timeline. You got to get the music lined up. You got to edit to the beat and all of those things. At the end of the day, I know it's daunting. I know it's hard because I went through that these past 2 weeks. Honestly, at times, I didn't think I was going to be able to handle the level of stress and stuff that I was working through when it came to the project. But at the end of the day, I'm so proud of what it looks like. And it's a massive thanks to my two other teammates as well, Colt and Nathan. They did some amazing work on it as well, from audio and color grading. I can't take all the credit. But the video itself was hard, and that's okay, because I think for us being uncomfortable in situations helps us make really, really cool stuff at the end of it. So I encourage you, just start, whether it's 5-10 minutes, set it up, start putting timeline down, or start putting footage down, get that timeline looking pretty, and you'll eventually get there, and you'll be really proud of the outcome. So yeah, that's it. Those are my four steps for you. Do it, start working on those projects, start creating. That's all you can really do to get better anyways. And I know some of you are like, oh, my stuff isn't good enough. All you can do is try. All you can do is continue to make and learn from the previous stuff. So hopefully this helps you out on your next big projects. That's all I got. I'm going to try making better cold tea for the next video because it's hot in the new apartment. Welcome to the new set, by the way. Pretty fun, pretty awesome. We're working on it. It's a work in progress. But yeah, so thank you all for watching the end of the video. If you stay to the very end, why don't you comment cold tea? So comment that down below and share with friends, family. Goal is 500 subscribers. That's the goal. I think we can do it. Okay, I love you all. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.